Hello, my name is Patty Wood-Finkel. All of you have been receiving emails from me, so thank you for your patience as I sent multitude out to everyone. I'm going to chair the lightning talk sessions. A couple of notes before we start is each of the lightning talks is 5 minutes. We do have warning signs, and we'll give you a warning at 2 minutes left. And we have a stop sign when you're out of time if you're talking a lot. Questions, if you would hold questions until the end, question time will be out during the coffee break. We wanted to try to make this as succinct as possible. So questions will be on your own afterwards. And speakers, if you could please stay in this space while you're speaking. If you're a walker, try to keep yourself into this space so that not only so that the people here can hear you, but so the people online can hear you and see you as well. All right. So we're going to go ahead and kick off with our first talk. It is Recording the Social History of the RBG Kew Herbarium and Tea Room by Nina Davies from the Royal Botanic Gardens, Kew.
Hello, everyone. I'm Nina Davies. I'm the Herbarium Curation Manager at Kew, and I'm going to tell you a bit about a social history project that we've been doing since the beginning of this year. So we are gathering stories as part of our 175th anniversary of the collection, which we'll be celebrating next year in 2027. And we already know lots about our building. We know we've got 5 wings and 2 basements and when they were built and who built them. We have recently done finished a mass digitisation project of our herbarium collections. And we know we have nearly 6.4 million herbarium specimens. We know lots about our collections. The stories that we really want to gather for this are the personal connections to the collections, those stories that the staff and the former staff and the visitors and anyone else working in the collection have when they're working in the collection. So we started this oral history project at the beginning of this year, as I said already, and we started this by sending this photo out to our colleagues. And we said, can you send us your photos and information on projects where you look at the photo and go, what is going on here? Like with this picture. These interesting stories which don't get published in papers. We wanted to recruit 2 UCL Museum Studies students, as we've had success with these projects in the past. And we wanted to arrange interviews to record these stories and information to celebrate them in 2027. We also wanted to explore the use of AI as a tool for transcription, and I'll tell you a bit more about that later. So staff and former employees started sending in interesting photos, as you can see here. Everything from photos on fieldwork to salvage in the pandemic, to the impact of a mass reorganization of the collection to a new sequence, to the herbarium cat that adopted the collection, affectionately known as Fluffy. We recruited 2 UCL students and armed them with recorders, and we were really lucky because they had anthropology backgrounds and experience with oral history interviews already, so they were ready to go. We armed them with a guide to help kickstart the conversation and these photos that we'd gathered. Each of the interviewees got a project information sheet with the relevant agreements, and the tricky thing was trying to find space in a busy herbarium for them to conduct these interviews. As you can see here, one of the students has given us their summary of how well the project went and what they learned. And successfully, they managed to interview 17 people over a 20-day placement, which they're just coming to the end of. Unfortunately, we didn't actually get to transcribe the interviews because we're still in discussion with our legal and IT teams about how we transcribe the data using AI. And obviously considerations for GDPR. So if anyone's got any, experience with this, please let us know. And we are instead summarizing these stories for blogs that we're going to share next year as part of the celebrations. So coming back to the tea room, how important is the herbarium tea room? So as you all know, as natural history collections professionals, you can't eat and drink in the collections. So in the Kew Herbarium, we have this dedicated staff room. And a common theme for all these interviews was how important this space was for staff to talk to one another, to have important career conversations, to come across fieldwork opportunities and form important relationships with one another in the collection, but also our visitors. And that is particularly important because of our herbarium being such a large collection, and it can be quite tricky to find people. But also, it was interesting to record how former employees recalled the tea room was strictly hierarchical, where you could only sit in certain seats, and perhaps you went up at a different time and you couldn't talk to certain people. So now we have recorded that, and that's an interesting part of our social history. So we are going to continue this project and continue to interview staff and record these stories. And perhaps we can bring back something like the Bulletin of Miscellaneous Information to record the social history of the herbarium. And it was thanks to these students, Maggie and Macau, for this brilliant project, but also other people that have helped us along the way. So thank you for listening.